Hey everyone, this is Tom from MonTac here, and we are back at it again with another Rookie Division Title match, this time featuring Rank 2 Silver versus Rank 3 TimeAnomaly. Great matchup, of course. This is going to be for the Rookie title. As previously mentioned, both players have done incredibly well. TimeAnomaly having recently competed for the Rookie title last weekend is getting a second chance, and this time they're picking on Silver, Buckshot Silver as they're called, who is currently on a 2-match win streak with their Angel Termination deck. Highly expected to use those board wipes and multi-attacks. Meanwhile, from TimeAnomaly, expected to use Mechanisms, and there we go right off the bat with a Scheming Mechanism added to deck, added from deck to hand, and they're going to draw 2 cards from that. Both are pretty aggressive players, and both love their removal. This matchup is going to be pretty crazy right away. Going for Scheming, great new cards for the Mechanism archetype, bent on basically getting a lot of resources to hand, getting those big level 3s into play that cannot be popped, and then getting multi-attack on those. So a very exciting archetype right off the bat. Silver is expected, of course, to use the Angels, a deck based on manipulating the asset pile and then gaining a lot of health to then use that health point to board wipe their enemy. Obviously we've got Mini Smoke judging the matchup very well from that guy. He's always very experienced with these, and the official head judge of the MonTac TCG. Starting us off now with a Wristblade Lizard Man, great for specialty removal and boosts his mechanisms. He's going to use secondary effect of Rising Mechanism level 3. Mechanisms up until recently were part of the Steel Edge archetype, but with the new changes to the template have been moved into their very own archetype and are getting debuted in such a high profile match that has got to feel good for those supporters. TimeAnomaly is going to grab the level 1. Level 1 is going to grab a level 2 and then sack itself, I would imagine. We're going to see where they go from here. Silver, of course, does have a lot more problems now because of the fact that their board wipe card called Widespread Termination can be popped by a specific Mechanism card. So the Mechanisms do have the tools to deal with Silver. It's just going to be about whether they can get that in action as soon as possible to avoid being caught off guard. Now they're going to go into level 2, and level 2 is then going to grab into level 3. Level 3 can then sacrifice level 2 to play itself, and it will have a 2700 monster in play that can't be popped by effects or specialties. Also, the crazy thing about this is now Wristblade can send a Mechanism from deck to perish that will give additional attacks to both itself and level 3. On top of that, it will add 1000 to that level 3. So TimeAnomaly is playing this exceptionally well for a deck that is very, very new. Just like last week, this is an Australian versus US match with Silver representing the States and TimeAnomaly representing the Aussies. We're going in for a Templar now. Templar is going to send a couple more cards. If this sends 2 Scheming like I expect it will, this is going to add so many Scheming cards. This is going to add so many different additional attacks. So we're going to send to Scheming. Scheming is a really good card because when it perishes, it adds additional attacks to all mecha type monsters you have, and currently all of TimeAnomaly's cards in play are mechas. Interesting. Okay, so that's going to give them quite a fair bit. We've got potentially 2 attacks on each of them now, so we're going to have a 2 attack level 3, 2 attack Lizard Man, Mechanisms, and I think Templar gets the double attack as well, so we'll go with that. This is going to be very interesting. Now they've got special removal on board, they've got multi-attacks on board. Good thing for Silver is that they still got another turn to make some plays before TimeAnomaly can actually attack, but they're still in the danger zone. Okay, passing it over very smooth from TimeAnomaly. Going to roll for Silver, they get a 2, bit of a difficult roll there. Let's see if they can make the most of it. Kid Angel Zachariah is going to hit the field. That's going to allow them to search for an angel from asset or deck. In this case, it will be from deck since there are no non-asset angels in the asset pile. That will allow them to grab potentially a Forgotten Angel Zachariah, which will allow them to combo into more cards. So let's see what they can do with this. great thing about what TimeAnomaly is currently set up now is they've got the special removal from that middle wristblade mechanism. And what makes this card so incredibly strong is the fact that not only does it special remove an enemy monster, it sends a mechanism from deck to the perish pile, which can activate Scheming, which gives you multiple attacks, plus the fact that it adds 1,000 to another mechanism in play. So they can boost that level 3 quite a fair bit. So they go into Beowulf here, so this definitely is probably going to lean into the Chosen Angels part of Angels here. Chosen Angel Beowulf is an incredibly strong card that is basically it just uses a lot of the cards in your asset pile as fuel to keep itself alive. So the entire point of Angels is to keep their asset pile nicely stocked. So they'll be loading a lot of cards from their hand or deck into the asset pile. We're going to start it off with a Beowulf, and they know exactly what to do. They're targeting that Mechanized Wristblade, immediately putting a couple cards into the asset. Looks like 3, putting that up to a 3,000 Beowulf. So TimeAnomaly is going to need to figure out a way to keep that guy alive. Does he let it through? He might let it through. Ooh, that's a really good play from Silver right off the bat, dealing with that specialty removal. Of course, if a monster loses specialty, it can't use its abilities, and any power it's gained from its abilities is removed as well. So, really nicely done to get rid of that big threat there. That might have given TimeAnomaly a bit of space though, and that might allow them to go into a second level 3. And with 2 level 3s on field, that is going to be much more difficult for Silver to deal with. However, Silver has put a lot of cards in asset pile, and you can bet your ass that one of them is a Divine Sword Azrael, or potentially a Divine Shield Gabriel, both of which activate from the asset pile when a Divine type is attacked. And of course, all Angels are Divine types. Rolling a 4 now for TimeAnomaly. We're not sure if they're still running a Starlit Wrath. They may not be. It is a card that basically gives you additional attacks equal to the amount of cards in your hand. There is another card recently released called Starlit Serenity, developed by our very own former champion Minismoke. It is basically a card that you can mill a bunch of cards and then give you a bunch of counters onto a card that can then be used to protect your monsters in play. But, good thing for TimeAnomaly, if they should use this card, at least their Lance Lizard Man or their Lancer Mechanized, famous for taking care of those kinds of cards, will be used by themselves and not Silver. So it could be a good opportunity to get that done. We're going to start off with the Templar over the Kid Angel. Look at potentially just get some intimidation at the moment. Now, of course, Silver is going to really need to set up their asset pile and get Divine Sword Azrael done. So getting rid of Beowulf here is a priority for TimeAnomaly before they can set up their synergy pile. Their synergies. They're going to pass here. Okay, so they're not going to try and go into that Beowulf, playing very cautiously. They do not want to have to be forced. They probably don't have any sort of power-ups in play. They did shuffle back that Titan as well. Wouldn't be useful in the scenario anyway, but that Beowulf is going to pose a lot of problems for TimeAnomaly. You're going to see what is rolled for Silver now. This is now the 5th turn of the game. Oh, no, this is 4th turn of the game, I believe. After a game is gone for 10 turns, on the 11th turn going forward, the game hits what is called sudden death. What this means is that any sort of wounding, wherein a monster attacks the enemy directly, as you would say in other games, is completely lethal. So we call that wounding in this game. And they're going to go for a Troy. Is Troy being played? It looks like it might be being played, which is very unusual for Troy. Troy is generally used as a discard to then set up your asset pile and give you 2 cards from deck. We'll have to see if that's what they're doing. Going to conflicts, they are playing Troy as a monster. It's still got decent stats at 1600, but it can't really deal with anything that TimeAnomaly's got on board here. Going after the Mechanized with a Beowulf. We're using secondary effect of the Infantry Destroyer Sword, would allow them to search for a Destroyer Sword from the deck and add that to their hand. Currently Beowulf is at only 1500. They're looking to play Titan Destroyer Sword, but unfortunately I don't believe they can, considering that Beowulf's power is not quite high enough. So I'm just informing the judge now. Titan is 1600 or higher. So Titan requires the enemy monster to be 1600 or higher. Okay, looks like they're trying to use the secondary effect of Titan and not the first effect. Sorry there, looks like they were trying to power it up. Very unusual considering they put it underneath there, but looks like they're going for secondary effect of Titan. Okay, now they're looking to do first effect, and now they definitely can't, as the enemy monster has to be 1600 or higher. So of course Beowulf is still attacking into level 3, but nothing's been done from Silver yet, so they're still going to lose that Beowulf at this stage if Silver does not play anything. Do they... Why would it perish? I'm trying to think now. They'll have to put 3 cards, won't they? Okay, they're going to put 3 cards. That gets them to 3,000. Okay, so they're going to let level 3 go. That definitely sucks for TimeAnomaly, but the benefits of losing level 3 is they now have access to level 4, which is an asset card requiring level 3, 2, and 1 in the Perish pile. This is a card that can board wipe your enemy on their turn, allowing you to have a lot more freedom. I think at this stage he's looking at potentially doing something in cooldown. And he's going to let it go back to his turn, okay. Of course, cooldown being the last turn for any sort of shenanigans with tacticals or asset pile. He potentially would have been looking at potentially board wiping Silver before taking his turn. However, realizing that might allow Silver to get more range with their Perish pile, getting access to the asset, they'll be able to get a total of, they could be able to get Valiant, Vigilante, not Valiant, Valiant Angel Ben into play, which is a revival for Angels. So, yeah, not a bad play, not a bad play. Roll of 4 for TimeAnomaly. Looking into second deck. TimeAnomaly is known for much quicker games, so let's see if they can get this done. And they're going to go for a Prometheus, which is very unusual. This card has not really been seen outside of very niche situations. The last time Prometheus has been really consistently seen was in a deck by Mini Smoke himself that he actually won the Pro Tournament in January with. It was a Starlit Prometheus deck. Potentially TimeAnomaly has taken a bit of inspiration from that and has decided to go down the route of Prometheus. The reason Prometheus is so good is the fact that it stops cards, or stops tactical cards being played when it attacks, which means stuff like Marine Guard, Savage Dual Shield can't be played when the Prometheus hits conflict. And of course, Savage Dual Shield being a major staple in the game currently, it is a very good card for those aggressive decks. But that's not all. Another great thing about Prometheus is it sends these 2 blue diamonds to the Perish pile. Now obviously you can normally just select any blue diamonds, but there are 2 specific ones that work especially well with Prometheus, that being Black King's Rebirth and Black King's Rebellion Breaker. These cards activate when they are sent as a condition from Black King Prometheus. What these cards basically do is they give Black King Prometheus the ability to double its power when entering conflict with anything that has an original power higher than 3,000. On top of that, should Prometheus perish on the following preparation stage, TimeAnomaly will get it back. So it is a really nice combo, and definitely will be helping TimeAnomaly get out of this sticky situation. Of course, with Silver now building up their asset pile, there's a lot of options they have left. We're going to go into Coconut Hut. This will function as a very good diversion to see if we can draw out that Lancer mechanism from TimeAnomaly, because if Silver loses what's called a widespread termination, they'll really lose a heck of a lot of their aggressive tactics in this game and have to rely heavily on their Angel asset, which at this state in the meta game is definitely lacking. They're going to really need to get their health up and then hopefully draw TimeAnomaly into either sacking the fall for Coconut Hut, getting TimeAnomaly's health low enough that they can beat over with Beowulf, or forcing the Lancer mechanism, which can then give Silver free reign to go into widespread termination. Coconut Hut is a really good card for putting cards into the asset pile. It'll buff them and gives Silver health points, which sets up the widespread termination. But what makes Coconut Hut so good is the fact that even if you do pop the Hut, you can grab the monster sent with Hut that turn after. Hut, of course, you have to sacrifice 4 health points to remove from the field at any time, but it's still 4 health points and will cripple TimeAnomaly quite a fair bit. But we're going to go into Star Hand, a very risky play here from Silver, because it will give TimeAnomaly a lot of health to use to deal with that Coconut Hut. So I would say at this stage, Silver is feeling very confident in the fact they can get the right amount of cards to give them enough of an edge that TimeAnomaly will not want to sacrifice the health, and if they do sack the health, be able to punish them. Currently 15 minutes into the matchup and 6th turn of the game. We are just over halfway to sudden death. Just there, yep, searching for cards now from deck. For each card added, TimeAnomaly will gain a health point from the star hand, hence why it is such a risky play. That castle in play too is really nice. I haven't really explained that card yet. What that card does basically is when an angel or divine type monster that Silver has in play would perish, they can send that castle to the asset pile instead, keeping it alive. So obviously Silver is really trying to keep that Beowulf alive so they can sacrifice enough cards to their asset pile. And once they have enough cards in the asset pile, they can start to go with a Chosen Angel Beowulf, which gains an additional attack and 1700 power each time it's revived through its specialty, which means you can have this reoccurring behemoth. Now, what's also not known about Coconut Hut, and something that TimeAnomaly might not be aware of, is its ability to loop Gentleman Angel Alfred to get you infinite Beowulfs. So he's going to definitely need to deal with Hut as soon as possible. And of course, now they're looking to reply with an operator. Okay, so this is really good. This will shut down the Beowulf plays from further putting stuff into asset, but I feel like it might be too late at this stage. Of course, TimeAnomaly goes to 10 health points from 3 cards added from Star Hand, and they're going to mill the Starlit Wrath. Oh, that sucks. Oh dear. They're going to pop the Beowulf now. It's going to add 1500 to operate, making 3400. I do wonder if TimeAnomaly's got a secondary Starlit Wrath, because if they do, they could definitely get enough lethal on board to get the win. We'll have to see now and wait what they're going to do. Silver is definitely running out of some cards here. They're going to need to make some big plays. And we got Widespread Termination coming down. Okay, this is a really good card because you can sack 6 to board wipe the enemy. TimeAnomaly's going to need to really deal with this, or they're going to lose their entire board. This is really bad for TimeAnomaly. They've got no protection on any of their cards. They can bring back Prometheus the following turn, of course, which is lovely, but it will not stop from being board wiped this turn, which means if Silver can get enough attacks on board this turn, this could be lethal. This is pretty brutal at this stage. Okay, going to go Hotshot Angel Ryan. Ryan's going to be another great card for stuffing the asset pile. This guy, I believe, how many cards can he put into the asset pile? 2 to 3 cards from hand put into the asset pile, which can then grab you a card from asset, regardless of condition, as long as it's not an Apex. So this means we're probably going to go into... What are we going to go into? I think we could see Redeemed come out. Ooh, they're going to go right into Chosen Angel Beowulf. Wow, okay. That is fast. They are not messing around. They are trying to get this over as soon as possible and get this chain moving. So the great thing about Beowulf, of course, is it starts at 3300. At the very beginning, it's not really that big of a deal, but of course, every time it perishes, it adds additional attack and 1700 in exchange for sending 2 cards from asset to the perish pile. So it's going to revive itself multiple times, using that asset pile to fuel itself and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Beowulf starting already. I think Termination would have been better here, but Silver might be playing very cautious in case they lose Coconut Hut. Going after Prometheus, this will double Prometheus to 6,000. Definitely a mistake there from Silver. And unfortunately they can't use Termination to board wipe anymore as they've gone into conflict. So that was really good for TimeAnomaly at this stage. But it's not the worst thing in the world for Silver because... it's not the worst thing in the world for Silver because, of course, if they lose Beowulf, they will get to revive it and get its power bigger and bigger. Okay, looks like Judge is allowing them to redo the attack. Beowulf is now going to swing instead at the Templar, and TimeAnomaly lets it through. Apparently the roll is 4, so a lot of options there for TimeAnomaly. I'm going to see if Silver is going to use that Ryan against anything. Just waiting now to see what they're going to do. Okay. Roll of 2 for TimeAnomaly. If they can grab a Starlight Wrath and start popping off here, that'd be really good. I just don't know if they have it. This is going to be very difficult. And we're going to conflict. Roll of 2. Nothing before conflict. We're going straight into it. Okay, Baleful is going to perish, which means they can use it specially to send 2 cards. So I assume this is going to send potentially an Alfred, or actually, I don't know if Alfred's been set up, so they may not do that. Okay, so they have sent an Alfred, which is Coconut Hutter, which means this will basically give them a net 0 for losses, and they'll get that free revival off of Beowulf, which is really nice. Silver is coming along incredibly well as a player, and this combo, especially sourced by them, is just huge. So we're going to go with Operator over Hotshot Angel. Still plenty of health for Silver and TimeAnomaly. You can see what the roll is now. Let's see what happens now. Bit of a big, bit of a gamble now for Silver. They could sack the 6 and go for lethal. Oh, can they get lethal? 10 attacks is going to be hard to get through. Especially with all the cards left that TimeAnomaly's got. I think at this stage they're probably going to have to wait till sudden death to get the win here. They got a roll as well. And they'll play the Alfred from the hut, which will allow them to have a 15... Actually, no, it won't have the power up anymore. It'll just be at 500. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so it is going to be remaining at that total of 500 because it did technically perish, but they do have this consistent renewable resource here. A second heart. Surely TimeAnomaly is going to sack 4 at this stage. You need to deal with these TimeAnomaly. Look at all the constants in play on Silver's side of the field. These are going to mount and make a pretty difficult wall for TimeAnomaly to deal with. Okay, Alfred is going to the asset. Hut is going to give them a lot of health. See, if I'm TimeAnomaly, you got to sack the 4 to deal with each hut for sure. Drops into the 2, yes, but those huts are so annoying. Oh, they're going to let it through. Surely, like, I guess you go sack 8 for hut, go to 2, your turn. If you have like a Lancer, just pop Determination, and that would probably deal with the majority of Silver strategies. The issue is it leaves you in low health, dealing with a Chosen Angel Beowulf that is getting bigger and bigger. So, especially if TimeAnomaly does not have any sort of like specialty removal, this is going to be a very hard match for them to win. Okay, now we're just losing Zachariah's specialty to add something to asset. So what are we going to bring out? It's a good question. I guess Redeemed is good here. If they're going to use the constant revival... Ooh, they're going to go for Beowulf again. Oh, because they don't have the conditions for Beowulf. They don't have Sword and Perish, do they? Okay, this is probably the right play then. Are they even running Redeem? That'd be a good question, actually. Just waiting now to see what they're going to do. Of course, Beowulf is at 5,000 with 2 attacks. And they get that into the game. So while it may not be a big deal right now, within a couple of turns of Beowulf activating, it will become very oppressive. Especially with those coconut hearts popping off. And with health gain now. Man, this is such a good late game deck. Beowulf going into the operator. Pops is gone. Now Beowulf will have less power than that Prometheus should they attack into it. So what does Silver do to get rid of the Prometheus? I guess he would have gone board wipe, but then Prometheus comes back the next turn. It's only they're going to do it once though, but still, it's not ideal. I guess if you're in this scenario, you would try to get a Divine Sword Azrael. Would be the play. It would be a card that would drop Prometheus down to 0. But so Beowulf is engaging Prometheus, which means surely we are dealing with the Divine Sword. There's the sword, dropping Prometheus down to 0. Very nice play. This will also allow TimeAnomaly to play a card from deck if they'd wish. Ooh. Oh. It's only when Prometheus... Okay, cool. So we thought for a second that Prometheus would stop the sword from being played due to it being attacked. However, ooh, regen! Ooh, great play. Great play. Drops it down to 0. Regen hits it back up to 6,000. It will get bigger than the Beowulf, but the main thing is we've got Sword in the Perish pile, which means when Beowulf comes back, they will not need to be cheated out through Forgotten Angel Zachariah. I think this is a pretty big win for Silver, and TimeAnomaly, of course, pulling off a very good play there as well. Very nice. Very nice play there. So at this stage, Silver probably should just let this conflict go. They will lose the conflict, but they got Sword in the Perish pile, which is amazing. And now they can send a card from their asset part of the Perish pile, which of course will be Gentleman Angel at this stage, I would expect. And that means on the next turn they can play him back, and they've got just an unlimited resources there for Beowulf. Now, of course, TimeAnomaly could stop this at any time by sacrificing 8 health to deal with both Coconut Huts. However, 8 health is quite a fair amount to lose, especially with Termination looming on Silver's side of the field. I'm just kind of wondering how come TimeAnomaly hasn't drawn into Lancer Mechanism, because that would be such a hard counter for this strategy, which is very unfortunate for TimeAnomaly here. Okay. They're just advising them now this is going to be the last turn for TimeAnomaly under the normal rules, and they will reach sudden death. I think it's after Silver's turn we go to sudden death. So we're going to roll a 3. Now, they've got health to spare. Surely you're sacking 4, unless they haven't read Hut. That could be pretty difficult if you have not paid attention to Hut's ability to sack itself a 4. But I feel like TimeAnomaly would know. He's been around for a little bit of time, and no pun intended there, but you should have an idea of what to get rid of him. Going to conflict away. Okay, going to taking on the Forgotten Angel Zachariah. Zachariah is gone, but this allows Silver to get plenty of stuff there. Oops, sorry, they're just going to update the stuff here. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, and we're back online. We've got Prometheus now. He has taken out the Forgotten Angel Zachariah. Gonna roll roll now for Silver. This means now they will have online a 3-attack Beowulf with enough power to beat over the Prometheus. Alfred goes to play from the Coconut Hut. TimeAnomaly really needs to deal with those huts. There's an angel. Alfred is going away with hut, and then they might be sending a hut for Elizabeth as well on the following turn. This is going to give them so much health and get Silver up into the upper echelon of health. With a special thing about Termination as well, is currently the max health for games is 15, but with Termination in play it exceeds the limit, which means that Termination can get bigger and bigger and bigger, which means there's really no... Oh, we're going to Termination! So Widespread is going to board wipe the Prometheus, which is going to leave TimeAnomaly wide open. It comes back on the next turn, so that means that TimeAnomaly's board is wide open, but that also does mean that we've got level 4 waiting in the wings as well, considering we've got level 1, level 2, and level 3 perished. So let's see what Silver's going to have to cook up here. Divine Castle again. Gosh, so many constants on that side of Silver's field. Goodness me, that is a lot. Going to Zachariah to play regards for class through the castle. Just flawless play from Silver here. Incredibly well done. Allowed them to draw a couple cards since the card played was Zachariah. Wow, just very nice. Of course, that does mean Prometheus comes back the next turn, so game's not as far from over. This is a very close game thus far. We've got board wipes on both sides that are yet to happen. I think once TimeAnomaly uses level 4, that will put them in a very difficult position, because they do need to, they will rely on that pretty heavily. Okay, looking at 32 minutes into the recording, and Redeemed Angel is getting played out. Pretty nice. Redeemed Angel is a card that can send up to 2 class 4 or below angels from deck to asset, but I don't believe they're doing that because they've already got quite a fair bit. They've literally got half of their main deck in the asset pile. Actually, probably about 10 cards. A little more than that. This is the not lethal, as of course this is the final turn before sudden deaths. This is not lethal as of yet, but it is still quite a few amount of health points, and if TimeAnomaly takes all of them, TimeAnomaly will actually be in a very difficult position because they can't sack the 8 anymore to deal with both huts. They're going to let both through. Going for 2 damage. So that means TimeAnomaly can no longer deal with both huts. They're going to deal with one now, which is going to be really good for Silver. Silver is playing this incredibly well, and now TimeAnomaly needs to figure out a way to battle back. They're going to get Prometheus. They also need to roll for their turn as well. We are now in sudden death. Any wounding is immediately lethal. Okay, roll of 1. That could be huge for TimeAnomaly, because that's going to give them the ability to play with very little answers from Silver. Ooh, Lancer is going to take out something. What are we taking out? Ooh. So they're going to send a monster from deck to perished that will then activate Lancer. That will pop a enemy card in play, which means they could probably... Okay, they're going to make the other Lance extinct. I don't know why you get rid of the other Lance. What are we going to pop? They can pop anything on Silver's field that is a non-asset. I'm going to think now. It's a big decision. Probably Termination is the best way to go here. Just no board wipes to deal with would be nice. Yeah. Any card they can pick. Okay, just confirm they are going to use it. And they're going to pop a enemy card. It could be a constant or that Forgotten Angel. I would 100% go for Termination here because I don't know if Silver runs 2 copies of Termination. And if they don't, that is a major weapon Silver loses. Of course, Hut is a big deal, but if you can get some health, you can deal with some stuff. They're going for a castle. That's an interesting play. Very unusual choice there. I wonder why they picked castle. Castle's good protection, so it's not a horrible choice, but I do wonder if that was the right choice. Let's see how things go now. So Black King Prometheus, of course, is in play, which can take out the Redeemed, which is pretty nice. Highly likely to work unless Silver has the correct response, which will probably be either shield or sword, both of which aren't really needed to be used right now, but they could do it. Also, they can't, actually, a good question, because of Black King Prometheus stops tacticals from being played. So really losing out on that Starlet would have been brutal. Coconut Heart is looking very good right now, giving Silver a lot of health. That's going to be 4 health per turn. That means that within like 2 turns they can go on and pop off with Termination. And they rolled a 4. So if I was going to grab them, a lot of options again. They need to go into... I guess we're in Sudden Death now, so I guess you go into Chosen Angel Beowulf. This is definitely looking to be a long match. Okay. I'm going to impose a card. I'm going to impose a Dragon Cupid, it looks. And they're taking the damage, denying Cupid. Tough spot indeed. Does Silver just pass here? Or are they going to go to Beowulf? I think Beowulf makes sense, right? Just go into multi-attacks. Because Beowulf would be at what? 8400 with 3 attacks? Oh, they're going into Valiant. Valiant Angel Ben is really good because they can revive non-assets when perished. I guess Silver might be using this to revive a Gladiator Angel Beowulf. They're going to use Ben to play a card from Perished. And they're going into Beowulf, so that is a Gladiator Angel Beowulf. Okay. Passing a turn over. And in cooldown stage, we might have a response from TimeAnomaly here. We're going to go with card displacement on the enemy's turn. Interesting choice. Of course, with TimeAnomaly losing access to Starlet Wrath, that is going to definitely hurt them quite a bit. currently having a read now. Tough match this here. They're going to put a Savage Dual Shield at the bottom of the deck, which is, I mean, it's not bad. It just can't be used with Prometheus, so I don't know. Looks like TimeAnomaly really has lost a lot of the cards they could have used for an aggro strategy. But they're definitely up in resources at least with cards in main deck. This is going to be interesting. TimeAnomaly's got the ball. We're at 41 minutes into the matchup. Did not expect this to go for this long, if I'm honest, but both players definitely refusing to give in. Roll of 3 for turn. We're going to go into Curse Breaker Swordsman. Great card for Destroyer Swords. Interesting. This looks like Destroyer Mechanisms, perhaps. Go into Titan Destroyer Sword. Interesting. Okay, roll of 3. Okay. Going to go into conflict potentially. So apparently they don't have a second start. That is going to be difficult. I just don't know how. I mean, Silver definitely needs to close this out because game of Blitz Magnum. Okay, Blitz Magnum's going to hit field. So Blitz Magnum's a card that basically every turn it's in play, like second turn onwards. It gains 500 for each synergy monster in the perish pile in total. So I believe that TimeAnomaly has 1. Silver has 1, and TimeAnomaly has 1. So it's going to gain 1,000 every prep stage, past the first turn. So, if they can get rid of Ben, actually, wouldn't be bad. Ooh, we're just going to see where they're attacking. Taking their time with this attack. Definitely a very important match for both players. TimeAnomaly currently have competed for 2 previous title matches against Crimson and Bob, both coming unsuccessful. This is a pretty important match for them to win for Australia, and of course for Silver, this is their first title match, and after a very rough start of the season with basically only draws and losses, they have finally worked their way back up, and they're going to go Titan Destroyer Sword against the Zachariah, bringing the Curse Breaker up to 2,902 attacks. He's going to get an additional attack as well, which is pretty nice for TimeAnomaly. It may even force Silver to play something from their asset pile a little bit early. But, my gosh, what an asset pile Silver still has. Of course, if Silver wins this, she will also become the second ever female rookie champion in MonTac TCG history as well. So, incredibly important for her as well. So she's got a couple options. She's got the Termination, she's got the Castle, she's got Coconut Hut, and yeah, Beowulf's going to be a bit difficult for her to keep going with. TimeAnomaly, of course, with Curse Breaker. Curse Breaker over the Valiant Angel Ben. Going Divine Sword Azrael in response. Regen. Really nice counter to the sword. Let's see what she can do, and it looks like Valiant is gone. Oppression destroy a sword using the secondary effect. She's going to type in that's 3 attacks. Going secondary Titan. Yeah. Okay, so that will give Cursebreaker 3 attacks in total, which puts it at 4,400. This might be enough to force out some counterplay from Silver, but still pretty difficult for Silver, I'm going to be honest. And we're going to go for a Divine Shield Gabrielle. Very clutch play here. That will end the turn immediately and give all specialties back. Very nice play from Silver. Okay, turn is passed. Okay, 47 minutes. Now the great thing what Silver's got is she can definitely widespread termination here to deal with majority of the cards that TimeAnomaly has. In fact, it will kill them all immediately and there's no more revival for Prometheus, so I would 100% be using that widespread termination right now. It's going to include everybody. Okay. Okay, going to go to 3,000 Blitz Magnum. So it has to be for what's in the perish pile. Okay. Okay, roll of 4 now for Silver. Silver really should go with Termination here, giving Silver more health. Alfred goes into play. This will allow... Okay, going with Star Hand now allows him to search up to 5 cards. Will give Silver 1 health for each one. Not bad for Silver. They could of course use Termination here to board wipe. And their asset pile is just gigantic at this stage with 12. Entering the 50th minute of the matchup now. A very long match for sure. Very grinding match. They'll both have to put a lot of effort into getting it to go. Okay, let's see what happens here. There's an angel now. Menace Angel has 2,700. Both players taking their time to get to the finish of this matchup. This is going to be a really hard match for TimeAnomaly to win now. Okay, so if you're silver, do you go for termination? They're going to blip the Elizabeth back into the asset. Okay. Yeah. Okay, 17 there. Fate Carver. That is very unusual. One card from Fate Carver. They're going to start a Chimera, which will bounce a card from Silver's field back into the deck. So just going to see what happens here. Okay, now they're going to send the Beowulf back into deck. Ben perishes due to timer. Goodness me, this is going to be one of the longest rookie matches we've ever had. Definitely did not expect this one at all. Going to conflict. This is it. Okay, so Magnum gets more and more powerful. Can they get through Silver's defense? Going for lethal. Play Beowulf. Ooh, hold on. Oh my gosh, that Chimera play put Beowulf into the deck. They can't play the... Oh, that's huge. Wow. They can't play the Chosen Angel Beowulf because their Gladiator Angel Beowulf is no longer the Perish Pile. The reason not the Perish Pile is they revived with Ben, and then it got spun back from TimeAnomaly. Wow. Will that decide the match right here, right now? That is huge. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Wow. Wow. Ooh, they're going to play Archangel. So this is definitely not how they wanted to play it. But it is going to be big enough. Ooh, will it be big enough? Ooh, is it going to be big enough, actually? Because if Prometheus can beat over it... Ooh, 5 cards. And if one of them is a Gladiator Angel, that will work. Okay. So it stands at 5,600. If they can send a Gladiator Angel Beowulf, that will be enough if they have one in asset. Surely they do. Ooh, and they get in the asset. Very well played from Silva. Man, she is playing this like a champ. Incredibly well done. Very resourceful play from there. That's going to give them a no timer apex that can attack a total of, that's right, can attack a total of 24 times. Holy smokes. This is ruthless. And what a great play from Silver, even if TimeAnomaly can get above that Archangel, which they definitely can with Prometheus. I believe they can with Prometheus. I believe Rebellion Breaker is permanent, unless it is only until it perishes. Let it read. I believe it gets a specialty. Yeah, so it still has the specialty. It can still beat over the Archangel. Surely he's read that. But the best part is now that he's done that, Oppression Destroy Sword is going to boost it another bit to 6,400, which will get it above the Archangel Zachariah. However, Silver doesn't really need to worry about that because they've got Beowulf online. Still a very precise and well-executed play from Silver. Even losing their Apex will not matter as much because now their true win con, their Beowulf, can pop off next turn, and with the termination activating previously, it will force TimeAnomaly to use that Mechanizard. So we'll see how things go. Alright then. Going in for infantry now. I'll give it another multi-attack. It's still not going to be big. Wait, isn't Beowulf 84? I think Beowulf's 84, isn't it? Just asking if it's been revived 3 times. I believe it has. So it's going to be 8,400 with 4 attacks in total. Beowulf will stand quite far and big. Going for his secondary infantry. Okay, which add another 2,000 to Cursebreaker. But the good thing is for Silver, they can bring back one more. Goodness me, this is quite a long matchup. This will be the very first matchup in the rookies to reach over an hour. In the current format. Well, actually, I think there'll be currently one before this, but definitely title match wise. So Cursebreaker definitely has enough to deal with this Beowulf at 9,900, and Beowulf can be revived one more time to reach a total of 10,100. They've passed it over. Okay, so if I'm Silver here, you got to go termination. Surely termination, right? This is definitely a very long match. Going widespread termination will board white time anomaly. Okay, just checking now. Going Alfred now for Beowulf. Goodness me, TimeAnomaly is definitely a difficult position here. Not having any sort of special removal has cost them quite dearly. Has Silver used all their regens? Have they used any regens? They've used no regens. Ooh, very well done from Silver, setting themselves up very nicely in sudden death. Going to conflict. Let's see what TimeAnomaly does. Let's see if TimeAnomaly decides to block this. We're reaching just over an hour now. Level 4 Phoenix will special move itself. Unfortunately, it looks like Beowulf is going to How come Divine Castle that he could have used she could have used Divine Castle there. Interesting play there from Silver. We go 1 out into the matchup. Okay. Just waiting now. The roll of 4 for that turn. Going into cooldown stage of Silver's turn. Going another card displacement to look at Silver's hand, put 1 card into their deck. This is a very hard situation for TimeAnomaly at the moment. Putting Savage Dual Shield Bomb on the deck, which will mean that Silver will not draw into Shield, it will draw into Gladiator Angel Beowulf, which is very good for time if they want to get a last second win through. Okay. This is going to be very difficult now. Okay. Looking to get it back to TimeAnomaly. Okay, TimeAnomaly gets the field. And they're going to roll for turn. Not much left now for TimeAnomaly. The only thing they have left is 1 asset monster facing 8 cards for Silver. Star Hand and the last card from deck to hand. Tons of Destroy Swords left over, it would seem. Level 2! Wow. Level 2 is actually pretty good here. Let's see what level 2 can do. They've got a bunch of mechanisms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we're looking at 7, 8 from that. So 8's gonna get a total of like 2,400. It'll be at 42. So he's at 4,200. So 4,200 in total on that mechanism level 2. Very nice. That's going to give them quite a fair bit. The issue is, unfortunately, they can't deal with that termination. 4,200. Unfortunately, they will need something to deal with that bloody termination. So if they have another level 3, this is definitely the time to play it. Because that termination, that level 3 can't be popped from termination. They're going for lethal. Beowulf now hits at 10,100. Five attacks. And that is GG. TimeAnomaly forfeits the match. Silver takes it home. Silver is the new Rookie Division Champion. Congratulations. And that was incredibly well, Silver. Can't wait to see how you do as champion. Well played. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been Tom. Have a good one.